What's up, guys? Steve here, bringing you some NBA picks for today, Tuesday, October 27th. If you haven't been following me, I've been giving one NBA pick a day over on my TikTok. You can follow that at Odds Jam Betting. I've also been posting them on my Twitter. You can follow that as well at Steve P Bets. But we're going to be doing, I have an NBA pick a day video on TikTok every day. I'll be releasing some videos on YouTube probably 3 or 4 times a week. So on TikTok, I've been doing one a day. I started the season 5-0-1. The last 2 days, or last 2 picks we lost. I was doing some first half picks. So we're going back to the basics, just going back to some straight plays. So you can go over on TikTok to see my favorite pick of the day. But I have 5 bets today, which is the most I've had all season long. Usually I do 1 or 2 a day, but I really like this card. So let's get into it. The first pick is in this game, the Celtics versus the Wizards. Head over to the odds jam screen. You can see this consensus line is at Boston -4. And one thing that I want to touch on quick, you should have gotten an email about it, but if you're new to this page or just seeing it for the first time, this is all the sports books that are listed that the software syncs with. This used to be the Pinnacle line. It's been rebranded as the Odds Jam Perfect line. So the reason for that is because Pinnacle is the most efficient, most intelligent sports book in the world. So it has the most accurate line, the line that reflects the most efficient market price. So that's now being called the Odds Jam Perfect line. You may have seen it before as the Odds Jam Dice, but now it's just the P. So that's what that is. That line is also it's a little bit more fair. I mean, unfortunately, if you're in the U.S., you don't have access to Pinnacle. But either way, it's a good starting point for the line. So Celtics -4, I think that's plenty fair. Boston's a team that historically under Stevens has been one of the best ATS teams. In 2018 and 2019, they were the best in the league. Last year, they had a slow start, and they really were not a good ATS team for the first time in a long time under Stevens. They started slow this year, but they've now won and covered 2. They are underrated because of those poor results last season. They had some personnel problems, and Stevens, he is somewhat falling out. But the thing is, in my opinion, this line's pretty short. My numbers make this Boston -8. So there's a lot of value here on the Celtics. I'm not a huge favorite bettor in the NBA, but the thing is, it spreads this low. It's really just win the game when it comes down to late game fouling. The Wizards, I was high in them last year. They exceeded their win total. This year, not so much. They've had a light schedule so far, and they're not as good as they've looked. So, I think this line's short, and there's plenty of value here on Celtics -4. The next game is the Hawks at the Pelicans. This consensus line is sitting around the Hawks -5.5. You can even get that at a few sports books at -110 at 5 right now. So that's what I'm going to take it at. Hawks -5. The Hawks, this is a team that I'm very high on. I talked about this in our podcast and in another video I did. But yeah, the Hawks, I think they have a legitimate chance to potentially even come out of the East if things don't go well for the Nets, or if they suffer an injury, now that Kyrie's out of the picture, if he stays out of the picture. But this is also a big fade of the Pelicans. In one of the first videos I did for the season on YouTube, we took the Bulls over the Pelicans just because the Pelicans are a total fade right now, especially until they get Zion back. They're off to a 1-3 start. Their only win came over the T-Wolves in a back-to-back game, where they played them in back-to-back games. So typically, those games are wacky, and if one team wins, the other team usually comes back and wins, especially if it's a home like that. But I don't take too much away from that win at all. This is a big step up in class for them. The Hawks, this team is loaded. They're great statistically, both offensively and defensively. This is a team that's blown 2 teams out already over Detroit and over the Mavs, so that was an impressive win in the opener. And, people don't really realize this, but this is a bit of a rivalry as well. You know, with the Atlanta and New Orleans, you know, they're pretty close geographically. So this is a bit of a rivalry here for these teams, and it's not like the Hawks are going to take it easy on the beat up Pelicans. You know, this game, it's a high spread for a reason. I know Randall likes this game as well. I'm in agreement. Next game, we got the Raptors versus Pacers. This line's been hopping around, but it looks like the consensus line, yeah, so the Raptors are back to a favorite. On some books, the Pacers are actually the favorite at -1. But, yeah, the consensus line, it's looking like it is Raptors -1 at the time of this recording, around 5 o'clock Eastern. You know, this is a game, I really like the Pacers, rather. Last game against the Bucks. You know, I'm a big fan of this team. You know, I really like what Rick Carlisle has done. He's really played to the roster, and he's played a more up-tempo style because he knows that, you know, this team's not very good defensively. But against the Raptors, who have really struggled to score, I don't want that to be as big of an issue. I really do like, you know, this Pacers roster. And the big thing is, in this game, it's a big matchup because Siakam's out. So both Sabonis and Miles Turner should be able to feast down low. I mean, Duarte, he kind of had an off game last game, but he's looked really good so far in his rookie year. He's averaging just about 20 points a game. And, you know, both these teams have struggled out of the gate. They're both 1-3, but the Pacers have looked good offensively, unlike the Raptors. And, I mean, just given their shooting, it's hard to trust this team against a team who can light up the scoreboard in the Pacers. So, I mean, this is going to be a back-and-forth game. It's always tough to fade the Raptors, you know, when they're back home in Jurassic Park. But, you know, this is a big bounce-back game for the Pacers. I think this is a little bit of a cheap price here. So we're going to take the Pacers +1. And the final game, this is the one game where I am against Randall. I know the commenters love to comment on that when he and I go head-to-head. I think it only happened one time in a video where he took the Rams and I took the Seahawks earlier in the year, and he came away victorious. And usually when we disagree, we're about 50-50, so we'll see what happens here. But, yeah, so this line's down. It's down to 2.5 on the consensus line. You know, I'd really like to get the Grizzlies around 3. So I'm going to wait and see which way this line goes. I'm not going to lock this in yet, but as, you know, for the purpose of this video, we can call it Grizzlies 2.5. Yeah, I mean, this is a team that I'm very high on. I mean, obviously I am a Grizzlies fan as well, but I mean, this line to me seems really low. Like they're almost begging you for Portland money. You know, the Portland's just, I mean, over the past few years, they've started slow. This year's been no exception. They were just absolutely run out by the Clippers. This is a good matchup. I mean, both teams, I guess, have favorable matchups. I mean, the Grizz have the pieces down low to defend the paint. I mean, in theory, the Blazers probably have the better guard play, although, I mean, Morant right now, he's the odds-on favorite for the most improved player. The Grizzlies have a lot of young, unknown, or not unknown, but not well-known wings in Melton and in Desmond Bane. So, you know, this is a team who can light up the scoreboard from the perimeter. Yes, I mean, in the Moda Center, Portland's a tough team to bet against, especially on a short line coming off a loss. But, you know, I thought this line was going to be like Pacers or Blazers, like -5 or more. So this line just seems like bait to me. I want to keep on riding this Memphis team. Yes, I mean, this is their third road game, as Randall touched on in his whale video. But the thing is, they've had 3 days off, so I don't really penalize them much for that because, I mean, they've had plenty of rest. They do play again tomorrow night, so this is the front end of a back-to-back. And, you know, against the Warriors, and this is a game, if they win this, then I'll probably go against them in that game. But I look for this to be a fourth quarter game. And, you know, we've seen the Blazers, you know, have a good first half and then melt in the fourth quarter. So I wouldn't be surprised to see more of the same here. You know, this is a game, this is my least favorite of the 4, but, you know, it's still worth a play. So I'm going to put a unit on this and taking the Grizz +2.5. So those are the 4 plays. Celtics -4, Hawks -6, Pacers +1, Grizzlies +2.5, and then going over to my TikTok to see my favorite play of the day. Good luck, guys, and let's make some money tonight.